Hello everyone, it's Janki and welcome back to another video. And in today's video, we'll be talking about the books I read in the month of April. So it's a April wrap-up video. So in total, I read 5 books in April. So let's get into these books in the order in which I read them. So the first book that I read in the month of April was Stalking Jack the Ripper by Kerri Maniscalco. It's a mystery thriller slash historical fiction. So we have this murderer on trail who is killing women and surgically removing their body parts. Our main character, Audrey Rose, belonging to a noble family, has no tolerance for tea parties and procuring a husband. Instead, she is inclined towards forensic science, and she is even secretly learning forensics from her uncle, who is the master in this field. And when murders start occurring quite frequently, Audrey Rose finds herself dragged into this mess along with Thomas Cresswell, who is another student of her uncle. And this mystery man that they're looking for, they realize is not so much a stranger as they hoped he might be. So coming to the book itself, I thought, and it may sound a little eerie, but the sequences where the dead bodies were cut up and they were studied, I thought that was well described. The forensics aspect of this book was a hit for me. So talking about a main plot which revolves around this mystery, I found it really cliche. The ending, the whole plot, it was quite predictable and not as exciting as the premise sounded. So yes, I rated this book a 3 out of 5. Coming to the next book I read this month, it was Recursion by Blake Crouch. It was a science fiction thriller. The book is about New York country, which is confronted with this false memory syndrome, wherein the person suffering from this syndrome has 2 sets of memories. One set of the present life he is living, which to him is the real memory, and the other set of memories which appears to him in greyish tone. He doesn't remember living that life, and that set of memories for him is the false memory. But little do they know that this syndrome was a result of a scientific research or experiment gone wrong. And we have our main characters, Helena and Barry. Helena is a neuroscientist and Barry is a cop, and together they try to restore things to as they were before and restore normalcy in the city. As it happens, this was my first attempt at reading a science fiction, and believe me when I say I have no aptitude for science at all. No aptitude for science and absolutely no aptitude for the scientific reasoning and explanation that were done in this book. After reading a part of this book, when I was finally able to wrap my head around the things that were going on, I found the plot to be really exciting, and I was looking forward to how was it going to unravel the other things that were going around. But sadly, things went downhill for me because the things that we already knew, they became so repetitive, they became so redundant that I was so eager to finish this book and just put it down, and not for good reasons. I just wanted this book to end, however that may be. And so yes, not a good experience reading a science fiction for the first time, but I hope I find a science fiction that I like. So yes, I also rated this book a 3 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read in the month of April was A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. It's a great work of fiction. It is centered around a person named Jude and his 3 friends since college days. It's basically a coming of age story with a lot of depressing stuff going on, which I don't have the emotional capacity to describe now. But I did a reading vlog of this book, and if you want to hear my thoughts on this book in a little detail, you could always go check that video out. And I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I read for the month of April was And the Mountains Echoed by Khaled Hosseini, a historical fiction. It is a multi-generational, multi-timeline, multi-character driven story spanning across 3 continents. All these characters have spent a part of their lives in Afghanistan, either before or after the warlike situation that prevailed in the country. These characters are somehow interconnected to one another, either as a friend, as a neighbor, as a brother, as a mother, and we just simply go through the lives of these people. Whenever it comes to books set in Asian countries, I somehow feel a kind of connectivity to it, but I found it a little missing in this book. And of course, that can be relegated to the fact that it is also set in many different countries. There's nothing over the top about this book. It's just that each point of view, each character story, it's so unique in its own way. They leave so many questions unanswered, and you want to read further just to get answers to those questions, and that I think is the beauty of this book. And yes, this is a 3.5 star for me. And the last book that I read in this month was King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. I picked this book up directly after completing the Shadow and Bone trilogy. The King of Scar duology is set in the same Grishaverse and takes place after the events of Six of Crows duology. So before I get into the premise of this book, I just want to tell you guys that this may contain minor spoilers for Shadow and Bone trilogy, so watch at your own risk. So yes, this book basically follows Nikolai Lantsov, Ravka's king, and Zoyana Zelensky, his commander. I forgot to mention this, but it also follows Nina Zenek from Six of Crows duology. And the storyline basically follows King Nikolai's attempt to restore Ravka after the battle with the Darkling, and also the subsequent wars that it had to face after that battle. So first things first, I did not give this book the respect it deserved, since I was reading this book in my mobile as an ebook, and so the physical books garnered much of my attention, and I usually used to pick this book after so many days. But let me tell you, this book is... The first 100 pages or so, I think they appear a little haywire, nothing much is happening. But this is a kind of a book that requires the readers to have a little patience at the beginning so that they could enjoy and experience the greater plot that is about to strike them. And also, I officially have a new member to my all-time favorite female characters club, and that is Zoyana Zelensky. Hail the queen and bow to her. She's so great. So if I had to describe this character without giving you away the plot or the storyline, she is a kind of character that I always wanted to be like in my high school, straight up kick-ass character. And the ending of this book, I am blown away. I suggest people to read this book just for the sake of the ending. It's so phenomenal. It's a legit cliffhanger. These books get 4 stars out of 5 for me. So yes, those were the 5 books I read in the month of April. Not a great reading month, I'd say, because I did not read any 5-star books. The best book I think I'll say is King of Scars, and the least favorite book that I read this month is Stalking Jack the Ripper. That's all for the video. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe and comment. And see you next time.